Hello again. This is Professor McCartan on the subject of appeals in advertising. Think of advertisements that stick in your head. Do you have that one that always sticks there? Mine is the Oreo commercial from 2012, Shut the Front Door. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but Google it. It's a pretty good commercial. What makes them so memorable? Is it the product itself, or is it the technique used to produce that ad? Advertising appeals are the persuasive aspects of the pressures that stimulate a person to buy a product or service by speaking to an individual's needs, interests, or wants. So realistically, the goal of an ad is to persuade customers, and advertising appeals provide just the right hook to allow persuasion to occur. Advertising appeals are designed to create a positive image and mindset about those who use the product or service, and a major factor of consideration for advertisers. As you can see in the picture here, Jeep and all the fun that goes along with a Jeep. Companies put a lot of effort into creative advertising, and they put a lot of effort into the strategies and the various types of appeals that they use to influence the purchase decisions. There are 7 types of appeals when you are breaking them down into the different types of appeals. There is the musical appeal. Music can help capture attention of the listener because the music is often linked to emotions or experiences and memories, or grabbing the attention of something that not previously was engaged because you were distracted by some form, and then the music came apart. The use of music appeals allows for a connection between the product or service, and some form of a catchy jingle or a piece of music might grab your attention as well. So for instance, Nationwide Insurance uses that well-known what tagline, "Nationwide is on your side," which is a very jingly, as you can see, appealing jingle, right? And since the musical memories are often stored in the long term recall areas of the brain, many consumers remember the jingles for extended periods of time. My daughter, who's 9 years old, can sit there and throw off several jingles from commercials that she's heard. The selection of a music can involve an already familiar tune, or can innovate or involve some form of creation for an original composition specifically for some form of ad. There's also sexual appeals. And sexual appeals provide another method of breaking through ad clutter. Nudity and other sexual approaches are common and are often employed using various methods. By using some form of subliminal technique, the advertiser attempts to affect a viewer's subconscious. For an example, an advertisement may use sexual cues or an icon in order to affect a viewer's subconscious, which is when they see an ad where a man purchases beer in order to gain attention from an attractive female. Or if you've seen the Burger King commercials with the female enjoying the Whopper immensely, a very provocative looking female. Likewise, nudity or partial nudity are often used to promote items of sale, such as cologne or even clothing. Other techniques include looking at sexuality, which is often used in ads for sexually oriented nature, so sexually suggestiveness and sensuality. It should be noted that sexually oriented ads do attract attention. There tends to be a lower level of brand recall for sexual ads, even though they do grab attention in the moment as it is. Humor appeal is another appeal. The humor appeal is proven to pretty much grab anyone's attention and keep it. When consumers find humorous things, they will remember it. So for instance, said the Shut the Front Door for the Oreo commercial. That still recalls back. It has a value because when you watch it, you laugh, and more importantly, you remember it. So by capturing that attention, humor appeals cut through advertising clutter and are allowed for some form of enhanced recall and improved moods, or consumers who are happy associated with the good mood with the product or service or whatnot that is shared. One of my favorites, another favorite of mine, is the E-Trade Talking Baby ad campaign. It's an example of an appeal for humor because the goal of attracting the attention through humor. If you haven't seen that one too, I suggest Googling that one because you'll get a little bit of a laugh out of that one as well. However, I will say that humorous ads can be tricky to design because those that aren't received well result only that the ad might be remembered as something that went wrong, or maybe not wanting the product at all because the ad was that bad. The next appeal I'd like to talk about is fear appeals. Fear appeals are widely used because they simply just work. Fear can increase a person's interest in an advertisement and can heighten very much persuasiveness, causing consumers to remember these ads more so than upbeat, warm ads. Fear appeal, I would say, fit particularly well in certain types of goods and services. The fact that products that can eliminate threats or provide some form of sense of personal security. So, for instance, an insurance ad, Mr. Mayhem himself, right? Or maybe a mouthwash ad that can evoke fear of bad breath. Or maybe even these days we have packages delivered and a camera doorbell ad, right? Absolutely. Moving on to emotional appeals, which is our sixth appeal that we're going to talk about, which are often developed, typically they really do develop brand loyalty. The goal is to stimulate your emotions in order to grab that appeal of psychological, emotional, and social needs for the consumer. Since emotional reactions happen right on the right side of the brain, which involves creativity, visual cues are very essential for emotional appeals, so the visual elements contribute a lot to setting the mood and getting that specific mood or feeling to come about. The emotions used in advertising include relatability, friendship, security, passion, anger, happiness among friends. The goal is to create some form of psychological tension that will only be resolved following the purchase of the advertised product or service. For example, picture a starving child that motivates viewers to give to a charity. Emotional advertising strives to capture the attention of viewers and ultimately foster some form of connection between the consumer and the brand itself. And then there is scarcity appeals. This focuses pretty much on limitations of a product or service. A product being available for a limited time only, discounted price for a promotional period, employment or promotional tools such as contests or sweepstakes. The major benefit of this appeal is to encourage consumers to take action quickly. So I will say to you, for instance, McDonald's uses the scarcity appeal in its advertising for the limited time only McRib sandwich. The scarcity promotes consumers to take action before the product is gone. So in closing, we look at the 7 major appeals: advertising appealed, musical, sexual, humor, fear, emotional, rational, and scarcity, which, when we look at all of them, they all have a common goal of influencing the way consumers view themselves and the beliefs of the products or services being advertised to them. Appeals are used in advertising in order to persuade consumers to buy certain products or services. The appeals are designed to create a very positive image of the product or service that individual will end up using in the long run, that product or service. These appeals are ultimately are a large part of the success of the company and are a large success and the great interest to the company seeking to gain those consumers. Until next time, this is Professor McCartan with Appeals in Advertising.